Here we are on the website, and this is an example. Well, not an example. This is what we're going to be building, and I've given you all the. I will give you all the images for this. So you'll see this is a simple rollover on this first button at the top. The next one here is a remote rollover. So watch the red bar on the right-hand side. You'll see that turns black. And when I roll over the 4 here, the web image changes. Roll over this, my world shows up in color. And then I roll over this, and we're given a fright. And then if I roll over the red bar, he is given a fright, the screaming man. And so these are remote rollovers, also known as swap image behavior. And a swap image behavior is really all that a regular rollover is. And so we're going to build the boxes for all of these images, and then I'm going to remind you how to create a regular rollover, and I'm going to show you how to create a remote rollover. And so I will hide this for now. The things you are going to need to download are the demo and lab files. And inside of here are all of those images that you just saw. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rename this folder images. No, I didn't want to do that. Boom. And then I'm going to open up my site folder. And inside of the in-class folder, I'm going to add a new folder named Week 8. And then pull this images folder into there. That's all of the organizing we need to do. And so we are golden. Now the in-class assignment handout is right here, and I already have mine open. So I'm about to take you into Illustrator for a minute to talk through how we're going to build this. But this is the wireframe for this page. And so it defines where all the boxes are, what sizes all of the boxes are, and what boxes are inside of what other boxes. You know, all the things you need to know before you can start assembling this together. Down here in this gray box are the basic rules that we are going to create to style and size each one of those boxes. So we will come back to that. And let me just go here into Dreamweaver now, close this guy. Don't save. And here is basically just the same thing I just showed you on the handout. But I have different layers set up, so we can kind of walk through this and just talk about our approach to creating these boxes. And so every week I'm going to say this, big box first, and then you build inside from there. So the very largest container in here, inside of the body, is going to be the wrapper. And this is the size, 965 width by 575 height. And then the next box we're going to make is a box called images. And so images here, this is going to contain 2 other boxes.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Do we open this and make this in Illustrator right now?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just showing you what we're going to be doing in Dreamweaver.
Okay.
Yeah, glad you asked. And so inside of here is going to be a long skinny box at the top where the various buttons are going to be. And then underneath that will be the big picture of the world. Okay? And so this box is a different width, 880, but obviously has the same height as the wrapper. And then the www box is going to be on the right side, and that will just contain the image that we're going to put in. So no other boxes will go inside of that. But you'll see, again, same height, but different width. But if you add 880 to 85, you end up with 965. And son of a gun, if that isn't the width of the wrapper. Okay, so that's what I mean by things have to fit exactly, so you do have to start getting involved with math. And we're going to do this week, and we're going to do another one next week, and then it's going to be time for you to build your own page based on your comp and wireframe. Banner is the next thing. That's that skinny short box at the top, so 880 wide, 110 tall. And then here's the box art, which is actually a class. And so we'll insert that 4 times. And each one of those are 110 tall and 135 wide. The web box, which is unique. And then finally, the world box underneath. And so that's kind of the order we're going to build these. And it's also the order that we are going to insert them into Dreamweaver. And in fact, in Dreamweaver, I'm going to show you how to insert divs today as opposed to having to type out the code. And so that's it for that, just a little show and tell that relates to this. I'm going to leave this handy. I'm also going to open up my cheat sheet. And let's go ahead and get into Dreamweaver now. And if I go into my in-class folder, week 8, there we are. We got our images showing up, but we need to create a new HTML page. So going to go to File and create a new HTML page. And then here we are, new document, HTML, no framework, and doc type HTML5. Beautiful. And it looks like I am in live view, so let me get out of there, go into design view. And okay, so let's give this bad boy a title and then save it. So what am I calling this? I don't even remember. I don't remember what I called this. Let's just call this remote rollovers. Oh, yeah, this rolls off the tongue. If only I could roll my R's. Can anyone here roll their R's? Probably you all can. I'm the only one who can't. It's embarrassing, I admit it. And my name is all R's, Ronald Robert Romaine. So it's a cruel accident of nature right there. And now I'm going to save. And I'm going to put this into my week 8 folder. Just going to call it week 8. Yep. All right.
Wait, Professor, how do you create the HTML again? The HTML page?
You just go to File, New, and then basically just click Create, and then you got your page.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's start building some stuff, shall we? And so the first thing we're going to deal with is the body. And so we are going to do this all with the Dreamweaver helpful stuff. And so we're going to go to the CSS Designer window. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a new source. Click on the plus sign. And remember, don't choose the top one because that will create an external file. You want to define in page, the third one down. And there it is. We've got our style elements in here. Add a little space so it's easier to see. And then back to the CSS Designer window, I want to add my first selector. And that is going to be for the body because I want to adjust the margin on the body. So I'm going to click on the plus sign for that, type in body. Remember, tag selector, native HTML element. Hit enter a couple of times. And then got some wackadoodle margins. We're not going to center this today. We're just going to push it over from the top and the left side. So the top margin is going to be 25 pixels. And the left margin is going to be 35 pixels. And then the other two, we're just going to leave those at 0. Okay. All right, so all defined, we're good. Now for the wrapper. Let's go ahead and add that selector. So I'm going to click on the plus side again. So again, wrapper is an ID because you can only use it one time. And so there we are. And then what we're going to do is we're going to build a box and then we'll insert the box. We'll just do one right after the other. And that way, if problems arise, then it's easy to catch them and fix them. So the wrapper is going to have a width of 965. And it is going to have a height of 575. Excellent. And those are all the rules for the wrapper. So let's go ahead and insert that. So I'm going to go down to my HTML here. And let me put some returns in so it goes a little higher in the screen. There we go. And so now to insert, I think you probably can figure out which window I'm going to go to, the insert window. And the very top item is div. Well, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to insert a div. Now, I think the easiest way to use this tool is to put your cursor where you want to insert the div. So in this case, it's the equivalent of making the robot butt with the body. So it's between the open and closing tags for the body. And then I'm going to go to the Insert Div button. And then in here, you'll see Insert, and it says at insertion point. Beautiful. And then I want to insert an ID. So I don't have any classes created, so when I try to drop that menu, nothing shows up. But I do have an ID created. So if I click on that, there's wrapper. It's like magic. Choose that. And then I can click OK. And boom, bada bing. There it is inserted. Now, the downside to inserting in this way is Dreamweaver feels incumbent on itself to include some really stupid text. You'll see content for ID wrapper goes here. It's just moronic. So what you need to do is get into the habit of deleting that text immediately. So you'll see it's already marked in my code over here. So I'm just going to hit the delete key, click on the design view, and now I have an empty box. If you don't delete those titles, it's going to mess up your organization because then your boxes won't fit because there's stuff inside of them. So it's totally idiotic, and I've never found a way to disable that, which makes me crazy. All right, so we've got our wrapper made. The next thing we're going to create is images. So I'm going to go back to Designer, Window, and create a new selector. And this is also going to be an ID. So hashtag images. And the rules I want for this are going to be a width of 880. And then a height of 575. And then this is going to be next to the www box. So what do I need to do if I want two divs to be side by side? You have 5 seconds to answer. Very disappointed. 5 seconds have come and gone. And that was a fail. You're going to feel a fool that you failed. Because I need to make sure this floats to the left. That's the only way to make so that divs can be next to each other, at least with what we've learned so far. So I'm going to go to float, choose float left, right there, and now that box can be to the left side of the www box. And I'm going to go ahead and create the rules for the www box. And so I'm going to make another new selector. And this is also an ID, so hashtag www. And then this has a width of 85. has a height of 575 again. And then it has to float. So I'm going to choose float right. Go. I could also do a float left. It would work the same way. And then I'm going to make the background color be that bright, obnoxious color I chose. So I'm going to go to background area. And the reason I'm having you put color inside of these boxes is it makes it easier to understand the organization so that your boxes are going to the right place and you can see where they are. So you don't have to use my colors. You can choose your own, but make them colors. And so this one is 8DC63F. Lovely, bright green, beautiful. And now the rules have been written for that. Okay, so let's insert those. So I'm going to go to the insert window again. And before I click anything, I am going to make the robot butt in the wrapper. Split those open. And then inside of the wrapper, I want to insert the images box. So I'm going to go to div, ID, insert images. You'll notice that the wrapper is no longer in there because you can only use it once and it's been used. Click OK. Delete the stupid content. And now the www also needs to go inside of the wrapper box, but it does not go inside of the images box. It goes after it. Okay, so what that means is I need to find the closing tag for images, hit the return, and that way it will go inside of the wrapper. Here's the closing wrapper tag. Here's the entire images element. I want it to be underneath that. And now I can go in and I can insert the www box. Okay, and delete the content. And refresh, and there we go. So at this point, those of you who are following along, is it looking good for you guys? I will accept silence as a positive. Oh, thank you very much, Bailey. I love those thumbs up signs. It's a way to be silent yet heard. Kara, are you going to give me the thumbs up? Okay, way to go. Thank you. Brianna, oh, I'm loving it. I'm feeling the love. All right, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. They're popping up everywhere. Okay. So good start. So next thing we're going to do is we are going to build the banner box, which is that wide, skinny box at the top. And so back to the CSS Designer window. A lot of IDs today. And so banner. Perfect. And then the rules for this are the width is 880 and the height is 110. So width 880. Height 110. Perfect. And then let's go ahead and make the world box. And so that's going to go underneath the banner box. And so plus sign for the selector, and this is going to be hashtag world. And the rules for this are 880 wide. And 465 tall. And then a background color on this. I'll do my specific one, but you do whatever you want. 27A, AE1. All right. And so let's insert those two bad boys. So back to the HTML. And so this gets a little trickier because now we have to put those two boxes inside of the images box. Okay? So everything is inside of the wrapper. But we have two boxes inside of that. One is images and one is www. So nothing else is going to go inside of www except for the image. But there's a few things that are go inside the images. And so I'm going to make the robot butt for that. Split those open. And then inside of the images box, I want to put two things. I want to put the banner box, and then underneath that, I want to put the world box. And so insert div and banner right there. Boom, delete the content. Voila. Now, next, I want to do world. So now this is going to be a little, got to pay attention to details here, because the world is in the images box, but it is after the banner. Okay, so we need to find the closing tag for the banner, hit the return, and then that is where the world is going to be inserted, right there. So it's inside of the images, but after the banner. Okay, so div, ID world, okay, and there she blows. All right, so at this point, if you've got all this in okay, you are doing well. Now all that's left is to get in the boxes inside of the banner, which are going to be the 4 box art boxes and then the web box. And all those boxes are going to be next to each other. So anyone who is able to give me a thumbs up, do all of those boxes need to have a float left? So the 4 box art boxes and then the web box. Do those all have to be floated? I don't see a thumbs up, Kara. I was really expecting you to give me a thumbs up.
Sorry, I'm just really confused. I think I pasted my world in the wrong spot.
Oh, okay. That's good. Then just undo it. I mean, that's not good, but it happens. So, yeah, so if you just undo that and then remember what you want to do, in fact, I will cut mine too, is it needs to be inside of the images box, but after the banner box.
Yeah, no.
Do you want to share your screen for a minute?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'm sure you're not alone. So I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, share yours.
I don't know why this always happens to me, but like the preview always looks weird. Oh, it says it's not able to.
Oh, if you guys that are working on small laptops, I forgot to mention this again. Now we're starting to get into the stuff where that may be an issue, where it won't look right in Dreamweaver. And so if that's the case, you need to save and then preview it in a real browser, I think, which is what Kara tried to do. But then Dreamweaver said, nope, I'm not going to show you that. So which means she has to open it from her desktop now.
Yeah, I've kind of had the same issue working on the laptop, but when I transfer it to my TV to have like a big 55-inch monitor, it definitely shows.
Oh my God. That's like an asteroid-sized web page. That is so cool, DJ. Mine's only a 27-inch computer, and you got a 55-incher.
I'll use the TV. I don't have a traditional like screen, but it still does the job. It helps.
TV works, yeah, absolutely. It's as good as a computer monitor these days.
Oh, Ron, you have to allow me to share this.
Oh, I haven't allowed? Oh my God, what? I feel so rude. Okay, welcome, enter.
Okay.
Okay, so let's take a look at your code.
See, it's flipped, but
Yeah, so there's your world, and that is inside of your banner right now. So you see your banner, the opening tag is above world, and the closing tag is below it. And so
Right.
you need to move that closing div tag from banner. So you can just drag over that closing div tag. Yeah, just drag over that bad boy.
For banner. Okay, should I?
Yeah,
close-
for banner, the closing banner div tag. So
Should I just type it in or cut it from?
no,
here?
just now you can drag it up. That's what I wanted to show you. It's so cool. If you mark the closing div tag.
Sorry, I'm not understanding what you're saying.
Okay, well here, let me.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there you go. Drag over that. Just the closing tag, though. There, stop. Okay, now you can click on that marked closing div tag and drag it up and put it after where you want it to go. So just click and drag it up, keep going, there, boom. And so you can drag code around like that if you mark it correctly. Now if you refresh, then you should be, the organization should be fine now.
Okay. But it's okay that it looks like this, right?
Well, click on that side of the screen. Okay, still messed up. So wrapper.
It did this yesterday with the in-class assignment when I tried to put it in the like just the background did not come. It did not look like that when I actually pulled it up on the website itself.
Okay.
Here
Well, then why don't you preview this? I mean that's pretty weird looking, so I can't imagine that's all right.
all right.
And nothing.
No, absolutely nothing. Okay.
Okay, so
You know
that
what? I don't think I saved it though.
oh, that could well be the problem. Yes, you didn't. I mean, no, you didn't. Okay, now try it. Okay,
Oh,
there you go. Okay, so this is in the wrong place now. So we can fix that because that should be over here. So go back to Dreamweaver. And the reason I'm taking the time to do this, guys, in class is because this is the type of stuff that's going to happen to you. And so just kind of pay attention to how we're fixing this. Now, I'm going to do something with your permission, Kara. Would you mind if I took over your screen?
oh yeah, go ahead.
So I'm going to go here and I'm going to request remote control. And okay, I believe I'm in. And this is why if you ever need help, you guys, you can come to my office hour and I can help you with your code this way, which is really nice. So this is me moving stuff around now. And so I'm going to click in your wrapper. And so that's good. We know that's okay. There is your images folder. And inside of there are three boxes, but there should only be two. The www box should be inside of the wrapper, but it should be after the images close. So I'm going to cut that and just get rid of a couple of spaces here. And there we go. And then after the images box, I'm going to paste www box.
There we go.
Okay, so it's still looking funky here, but oh, it's small. That's why it looks so funky, is because you've reduced the size of this window, which is fine. But see, everything is looking the way it should now. So that's good. So all fixed. So these are the types of things that are going to happen and why I'm going slow and I keep asking you, you guys okay? You guys okay? Because the sooner you find that you made a mistake, the easier it is to figure out how to fix it. So I'm going to stop my remote control so Kara may have her computer back.
Ron?
Yeah?
Mine as well.
Okay, what's going on with you? Yeah, go ahead and show yours.
If I can, I'm gonna switch over to a different computer, and if you can accept me into that class, because like I'm working on a different computer, and I'm in a class with another computer.
Okay, yeah, as long as it doesn't take too long, because I want to make sure we can get through the demo.
For sure, thank you.
And actually, guys, we have plenty of time, I'm seeing. But this is the type of thing I never want to rush. So I know it makes for a long computer session. So we'll take a short break, you know, in about half an hour for 5 minutes. And then we'll, you know, so it's not quite so torturous. Oh, I see you over there now. Nice to meet you, Paul.
Sorry. I gotta borrow a different. Okay. Let me. I want to try and share screen. Oh wait.
Okay, looks like you're sharing now. All right.
I think mine looks. I'm a bit confused.
All right. For some reason, I can't move this around. Okay. All right, so let me look at your HTML here. So there's your wrapper. Here's your images. And inside of your images is your banner and your world. And then after images is your www. So that looks okay. Obviously, the view you're getting on your screen is wacky. Have you tried opening it in a browser?
Yeah, let me try right now. Let me save it first. Looks like this.
Okay, so basically what's happening is this is floating to the right and it's going all the way to the right. So that tells me it's not inside of the wrapper because the wrapper isn't containing it. So that might have to do, let's see, 965. Yep. Okay, scroll back down to your HTML, please. And ID wrapper.
Is it the divs? Is it?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm just not seeing anything. Let's see if I can take control of yours.
For sure.
Is it a PC?
Yes.
Okay, good. Mac makes you go through this whole approval process, but PCs will let anybody in. All right, I'm just kidding. Okay, there's the wrapper. And see, guys, kind of watch the way I'm problem solving this, because this is the technique you're going to want to use. If boxes are flying all over the place, what that means is they aren't being contained. And if they aren't being contained, then there must be something wrong with the organization or something. So the wrapper is good. There's the images. And also, make sure you don't see any red numbers. There aren't any here. And inside of the images is the banner and the world. And then after the images is www. So all that looks fine. And so now, let's look at our rules here. And so wrapper. Oh, you misspelled with on wrapper.
Okay.
Okay, then I'm going to refresh that, and that will most likely fix it. So a width was not being applied, so it was just expanding to the width of the browser window.
Okay. I think it works now. You can see it, right?
Yep, it's working. And so I'm so happy you shared that, Jade, because that's the way this stuff happens, okay? One letter that shouldn't be there, and it breaks it. And so I'm going to stop remote control now. And we're good. So, all right, so let's continue on, you guys. So again, I did that because I think that's really helpful, especially since we're not in the classroom. It's much harder to get my help as we're working. But please don't be shy. All right, so next up, I need to go back into sharing. There we are. And so next up, we need to make the boxes that are going to go inside of the banner. And so let's go to our CSS Designer. And what I want to do now is make the box art. And that, of course, is going to be a class. And so why is it going to be a class? Well, what a fine question, Ron. It's because you need multiples of the box, okay? And so that's why it's a class, because you can use it multiple times. So I'm going to click on new selector, dot box art. And then here are the rules for this guy. A width of 135. A height of 110. It needs to float to the left, so they can be next to each other. And then the background color. Again, put in, even if you don't use my color, you put in a color. GA5, 23A. Boom. All right, so that is it for the box art. And as long as we're in here, let's go ahead and make the web box. There's only one of those. So a new selector, an ID of hashtag web. And then this guy has a width of 340. It has a height of 110. Float left, so I'm also going to float this to the left. And then this also has a background color. This is the last rule. And 5 or F79, 41E. Okay, so let's insert these guys. And so these are all going to go inside of the banner box. Okay, all of them go inside of the banner. So that means I'm making the robot butt, splitting that open, and then I am going to insert my box art. And so I'm going to go to Insert, Div, and this is a class, so I'm going to go to the class drop-down menu, and there is box art, and that won't go away because I can use that multiple times. Click OK, and then delete my content. Now, even though I could keep going back to insert, I'm not going to because I'm a lazy ass. And so what I find much easier is to just copy this and paste it 3 more times in the code. And so I'm going to do that the way my jib is cut. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to hit return, paste, return, paste, return, paste. And there are my 4 box art boxes. Okay. And so again, they are inside of the banner. I don't know why my tabs are all whacked out here. There we go. Okay, inside of the banner. So the last one I need to do is the web box. And the web box is also going to be inside the banner, but it's going to be after the 4 box arts. So after the closing tag for the 4th box art, I'm going to hit the return, and now I am going to insert the last div, which is an ID called web.
Hey, Ron, I had a question.
Yes.
For me, the box art isn't showing up when I look it up in the div.
Oh, are you looking under the ID or the class dropdown?
Under the class, it nothing comes up.
Okay. So your rule for the for box art, does it have a dot in front of it?
No. I couldn't tell. The screen is so tiny, I couldn't tell if yours had a dot.
You don't have to be sheepish. It's okay. I mean, you're learning. That's the thing. That's why I really appreciate you guys interrupting, because these are the little things that will make you crazy when you're learning.
Yeah.
And so that's why. It's just simple little things like that. That's why the sooner you catch your mistakes, the easier they are to figure out. And just go slow and look at the simplest things first. And that's almost, when you're doing this stuff, that's always what it's going to be, because we're not doing anything complicated. So good. So they should show up now, I hope.
Yeah, I showed up. Yeah, thank you.
Way to go. You're welcome. Okay, guys. Well, if your screen is looking like mine, then you've done really well, because this normally is freak out time in the classroom. And so this is good. You've done well. The next thing we're going to do is we need to start inserting our images and our rollovers. So this kind of involves a whole nother level of detail, but it does. And so it has to do with the fact that what we're going to be doing is letting Dreamweaver create JavaScript for us, and the JavaScript is creating the swap image behavior. And so that means you have to give certain names and IDs, which I need to show you how to do. It's quite easy. It's just detail-oriented. Okay, let's go for another 10-15 minutes, and then we'll take a 5-minute break. And I think we can get a lot of our images in here and then maybe do the rollovers after that. So at this point, we just need to let's do our regular rollover first. That is the one in the top left corner here. And you notice when I clicked in this left box, it actually marked my box next to it. And so this is why I am clicking in the code for all this stuff and not clicking in live view. Sometimes it will work when you click in live view, but mostly it won't. It's really irritating, especially when you have boxes and boxes. And so just click in the code to show where you want to go. So where I want my regular rollover to go is in the first box art box, okay? And so that's, find your banner box, and then the very first box art inside of that, make the robot butt. And then you are going to insert your rollover image. And so I'm going to click on that, and this window will show up. So we've done a rollover before, and I know I told you before that naming this in a very unique way is really important. Well, that's what we're going to have to do with all of these. And so I've taken all of the good names. And so you're going to have to be creative with what you call this. And so this is going to be called button 1, okay? And so, I'm sorry, button A. Yeah, that's right, button A. And so you can have no spaces, not even hyphens. So we're going to type B-U-T-T-O-N, and we're going to use what's called camel casing. And that is where the first letter is lowercase, the first word is lowercase, and the second word, no space, but it's capitalized. That's called camel casing. So image name is button A. Nothing else is named button A. And then the original image, that is the image that's going to load. I usually call that normal. I don't know why I started calling it that. Well, actually, I just didn't call it anything. I just called it button A. And open, beautiful. And then the rollover image. So what image do you want to show up when you hover? Click Browse, and button A over. Beautiful. You want to confirm that preload rollover images is checked so that they all load when the page loads. And then you click OK. And voila. And I'm going to save this, and I'm going to preview in a browser just to make sure. Real-time preview. Let's see if it works. Oh my God, it's a miracle. And so when I roll over that, yes, sweet Papa John, we're cooking with gas. Right there. All right, good. So did your guys' button A rollovers work? I mean, button A, doesn't that sound French? I think it does, but then I digress. Okay, I'm not hearing any squeals of disaster, so I'm going to go back to Dreamweaver. And behold, JavaScript has arrived. Look at that. That's just frickin' nonsense. Yeah, that's why I'm not even a beginner of JavaScript. All right, also added a whole bunch in here too. And so when this starts happening, I mean, look at how complicated my code looks now. And the thing is, it's not very complicated. It just is a lot of crap. So I'm going to start putting some spaces in here. So I'm going to put a space there. And let's see, where is the end of that? Right there. And I'm just going to add spaces between each of my box arts and my web box. Okay? So as I start populating and this gets messier and messier, I can go in and I can figure out what's what. Now here's the thing with the rest of the images. Because we're doing these remote rollovers, it's a little more work. We have to I'm going to show you a new window today called Behaviors. And so the first thing we have to do is just insert images in each one of these boxes and give each one of those images a unique name. And I think that's when we'll take our break. And we'll come back, and then I'll show you how to create those remote rollovers. All right, so box art, the second box, I'm just going to make my robot butt for box art 2. And now it's just a matter of inserting images. And what I'm going to insert here is button B. Now, before I leave button B, I'm going to pull up my properties window because you need to give this a unique ID just like we gave the rollover a unique ID. But we aren't getting that nifty little window to do it in now. And so with this image marked active, if you look in your properties window, on the far left side, you'll see a little box that says ID. And what you need to do is you need to click in there and you need to give it an ID just like we gave the rollover. So this is going to be called button capital B. This doesn't sound French anymore, button B. I don't know what it sounds British. Then when you hit the Enter key, you'll see that your ID has been added down there as an attribute inside of your image element. Okay, so that's good. And so now you're going to keep needing to do this for all of the images. So the next one I'm going to insert in there is going to be button C. What a surprise. That is the number 4. And then I'm going to go ahead and give this an ID of button C. That sounds German. Button C. Next one is going to be, don't tell me, button D. Man, how do I come up with this stuff? All right, and there we go. And then finally, in our web box, we'll finish out the top. That is web. There we go, web. And then again, I've already got stuff called web, so I'm going to have to be careful. So I'm going to call this button web. Yes. And boom. Okay, so we've populated all of the images inside of that, which is actually most of the images. We really just have a couple more to go. And so let's go ahead and do the world next. And so the world, I need to go down to the bottom and find the world element, our world div, and make the robot butt, and then we are going to insert world JPEG. And just to be consistent, I'm going to call this button world. And then one more to go, and that is the www, which is on the very bottom. There it is. And voila. Okay, guys. So we're in pretty good shape right now. We've got all of our images in. We've got our one rollover complete. Now we just have to do the remote rollovers. And let me ask you a question. Do you want to take 5 minutes just so you can have a pee break, or would you rather just keep going? It's probably about another, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or so.
Continue.
Continue? Everyone okay with that? All right, let's go. I will, however, take this opportunity to slurp. Oh, yeah, that's good stuff right there. Okay, so next up, and this is kind of spelled out on the handout, which you don't really need to look at yet, but actually let me show you the handout. And you'll see that this, on the right-hand side, kind of spells out what you're going to be doing. So we've already done A. We are going to be creating remote rollovers for button B, C, D, and then the web, and then for the www image. So these are all going to have remote swap image behaviors. And it tells you what image is going to swap when you hover over a particular button. So for instance, when I hover over button B, I want to swap the image that is labeled F here. And so that is the www image, okay? And so it can be a little confusing, but just read it in little parts. It will make sense. So when you do button B, you want to swap the www image. And so that's why they're remote, because it's not swapping the image you're currently hovering on. It's switching another image. And so you have to tell it what that other image is. And that's why those IDs are so important. So the JavaScript can point correctly to it and you can identify it. Okay. And so that spells it out for each one of them. As long as I'm here, let me go here. There is a little bit of a different rule today, or a requirement today, and that is that you are not going to put a return link on this page here, but you are going to create a link to open that window from your home page. Except what you're going to have open is a new window, a new tab, okay? And so it tells you right here, you're going to create a link that goes to this week 8 HTML page, and it is going to open in a new window by having an attribute of target equals blank. So let me show you this, just because I don't want to be cruel. When you create a link, let me unmark everything. So when you create a link in the properties window here, there is the link box, right? And right next to the link box, in fact, I have a link somewhere. I think I have a link here for my rollover. Let me click in that. Yep. Yeah, so here is the link box. And your link box will just have a hashtag in it, which you're going to need to put in. But to the right of that is a window called Target. And so when you make that link from your home page, you're going to put the link in here, and then you're going to give it a target of blank. All right? That's all there is. So I've shown you that. But even if you can't remember that, if you can remember it's just in the properties window, I've told you on the handout that you're changing the target, so you'll be able to figure it out. Okay, so let me leave this up here. And so I need to click on that button B image. That's the first thing I need to do. And actually, before I can do anything, though, I need to open up another window. One that we're going to add over here as a tab, because you're going to be using this for the rest of the semester. And so if you go to the window menu and you pull down to behaviors, that is the window you want. So I'm going to choose behaviors. That will open up this little guy. And then I'm just going to drag it over here and put it next to CSS Designer. And you'll see right now it's just a big blank window. But what behaviors are is that is the name of Dreamweaver's interface with JavaScript. All right, so right now it's empty because we haven't created any behaviors. But once you've clicked on this, before we do anything with behaviors, you have to go into the link box and put in a hashtag. And the reason you're doing that is because you want to wrap this in an anchor element so that it behaves like a link. Because in real life, these are buttons. They would, on a real page, go to another page. So you want to see the little pointy hand when you roll over this. And so that hashtag will do that. It makes it behave like a link, but it actually is not actively linked to anything. Then, and only then, let me check down here. Oh, I need to then click on my anchor element right here. And then here's a trick, and I don't know how well you can see this, so I'm going to scroll up. Okay, so you see at the bottom of my Dreamweaver window here, there is, this is called the tag selector down here. And down here you see a body, a div wrapper, a div images, a div banner, a div box art, and then an A if you just added that anchor element. Click on that A. And what that will do is it will mark this entire anchor element. Now, could you just drag over it? Sure, you can do that. But you want that to be marked when you go to the behavior window. And so now what I want to do is I want to click on this plus sign, and I want to drop the menu, and what I want to do is I want to swap an image. Okay, so what is that? Fourth one down, up from the bottom. And then that brings up this little window. This class is full of little windows today. And this is why you named everything, not only for the JavaScript, but so that you can tell what is what. Okay, so now this is a little confusing because you're going to think, oh, I'm going to choose button B, but you're not. Dreamweaver already knows that button B is the trigger because you marked it before you came here. You don't need to tell it about anything about button B. What you need to tell it is what image you want to swap. Well, if you remember, the image you want to swap is the www image, this one over here. And so I'm going to go here and I'm going to choose, oh, look, I spelled it Bhutan. How cute. So I'm going to choose Bhutan www. And now I can set the source. So in other words, when I roll over this Dreamweaver, change this image, the button www, to this image. And now I can browse, and I can choose the www over, and I can click open, and then I can click OK. So now, as always, you can't test this out in Dreamweaver. So at this point, I need to save, and let's go back. I can go back to my page here. Pretty sure this refreshed on its own. And then when I roll over this, do you see that? The right-hand image should change now. So did that work for you guys? Yeah.
Professor, can you go over? Oh, sorry.
I say that again?
Can you go over again how you got to the swap? Like, I got kind of lost when you clicked next to the on the button B, like in the beginning. Can you just go over it really quickly?
Oh, of course. Yes, no problem.
Thank you.
Happy to. Yeah, and because you are not alone. In fact, what I'm going to do is go ahead and just do button C. And so I'll just go through the whole thing again, step by step. So I'm going to click on button C right here, and that is now active. And now what I want to do is I would like to put the hashtag into the link box right here. And what that does, and then I hit the enter key just to confirm that it takes, that wraps that whole image in an anchor element, and so it makes it behave like a link with a little pointy hand. Now what I want to do is before I go to the behaviors window, did you get the behaviors window open okay, Brianna?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. Before you go to the behaviors window, you want to mark this entire anchor element. And you can do that either by just dragging over it in the code, that's fine, or you can go down to the tag selector in the bottom of the window and click on that. It doesn't matter, whichever you prefer. Once you've done that, then you go to the behavior window and you click on the plus sign, and then you choose swap image. And so when this little guy comes up again, remember we don't want to choose button C. That's already been selected. We want to choose the image that we want to change, which for this one is going to be the web image, okay? This guy called web. And so I'm going to scroll down here and choose button web. And then I can set the source to what I want that image to change to. So I'm going to browse. And I'm going to go to web over, click OK, click OK, save, and then go back to my browser, and that has refreshed now. So see, it's showing up. So you can see it's quite easy, but there's all these little details that you have to kind of do in the right order, which is why I'm very happy I'm recording this. So when you get to this part, you can just scrub all the way to the very end and find this part if you forget how to do this. But at this point, I'm going to stop because I've shown you everything you need to know for finishing this up. So just look at the handout. It will tell you what image changes where when you roll over whatever. And then you need to create the link on your site page and have it open up in a new target window. And that's it. Then synchronize if you are live on the internet. Synchronize, and then you are done. I will grade from that. If you aren't live on the internet yet, then and you're feeling like you're stuck, then you need to come see me during one of my office hours so we can get you unstuck. So I told you last week that we actually have plenty of time to get it resolved, but we need to start resolving it now because depending on what your issue, it may take longer than just a day or so. So come see me so we can get you fixed up, and then you can be live on the internet like the other students are. It feels so. Actually, the students who are already hooked up are actually very full of themselves right now. They've developed a real attitude. So you don't want them to be able to hang on to that attitude. You know, bring their head size back down. But that's it, you guys. Next week, remember what is due. Your roughs turned into Canvas. I haven't put up a link for that yet, but I will in the next day or so. Turn-in link that'll be under week 9. And so that's due, and this assignment is due. But you're almost done with this if you were able to keep up.